So hello and welcome back to Sarah and Lee. So we're going to do a short little video today. We're back in Sophia, but we're only up in the storage, giving her a little check over, making sure she's alright. Is she alright?
No, we've so in another video that will be coming after this video, we talk about how we found mice again in the engine bay, and we've seen them, but we just can't find them. So Sophia was at our house for about 2 weeks and they kind of disappeared. We've done all of the spraying, we've got all of the mice deterrents, and then we've brought her back to storage. She's been back here about 2-3 weeks, and we check on her every week, and we've been good, because we've been putting like this little spray down. What scent is it?
Peppermint spray. Which
is fab. And they'd gone, we'd left the mouse trap, come back today, and they've had a field day. So they've destroyed our cow from Scotland, they've destroyed our dragon from Wales. I think we've actually caught them in the act, because it looks like they were about to start building a house. So I think
we've got them, but we'll have to keep checking. But obviously they're insistent on moving in, so we'll insist on evicting them every time we can. So that's the only problem we've got at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on that one. But in this video we thought we'd give you a rundown of the European road trip, and we'll tell you a little bit about what it cost, because that was one of the things that we were a little bit worried about. So we've kept a very good diary, or Sarah kept a very good diary while we were away, and has recorded every penny or every cent that we've spent, every euro and every pound. So if you watched our European road trip videos, thank you very much. We do hope you enjoyed them. It was a long dream of ours to take Sophia, I think since we got her, to take her over across the channel. When we first planned this trip, we didn't know where it was going to go. We didn't know how far we were planning to go. In fact, I think it started off as just dipping our feet into France. But as you know, if you've watched the videos, we made it all the way to Rome with hardly any hiccups. One major hiccup.
We lost 2 days of the holiday, so if you've not seen us break down, I will tag that in so you can have a little look at what happened. But we've had so many new subscribers to this channel for the European road trip, so thank you everybody. Overwhelmed by comments, really lovely messages. Yeah, I think we've only had one horrible personal comment, and if that person is watching, you know what you said. It's not nice. But moving on swiftly. So how do you want to do this? What do you want to start with? So if we start with the ferry.
Yep, so we decided to take the ferry. The ferry's significantly cheaper than the Eurotunnel. And it's a couple of hours, and I like a boat. So we took the ferry.
We booked it as two singles.
We booked the Outward, I think it was in a January sale.
Yeah, it was Irish Ferries.
So Irish Ferries, I think the Outward cost about £83. And then a few months later, when we knew we were coming back to Calais, we booked the return leg, or the single back.
But we booked it, didn't we, so we could have it, so we could travel 12 hours either side. So total ferry costs were £212.60, and that's in Great British pounds.
So I think that was a bargain.
Yeah, really pleased with that.
Yeah. Shout out to Irish Ferries as well.
They were fab, really, really good. We ate on both of those journeys. Ate breakfast going out, absolutely fantastic. 40 quid for 2 full English breakfasts, well, full Irish breakfast and some coffees. And then coming back, we did the same deal, but I had fish and chips and a Coke, and you had
pork roast, I think.
And a Coke, and again 40 quid. Fantastic food, really, really good. SIM card, so I'm actually with Sky, so I can't actually use my roaming over there for free, which is not great. So I bought an eSIM through Airalo, and that cost £10 British, and you were fine because you were there too.
I didn't have to do anything.
Okay. Tunnel. Do you want to talk about the tunnel?
Yeah. So after we'd finished with France, we drove into Italy and we used the Frejus tunnel. So the Frejus tunnel is about 7 miles long, goes underneath the Alps, and you pop out nice and conveniently in Italy. But it does cost, it hit the wallet, and that was
€71.60. So €71.60 for 7 miles.
For 7 miles. So it obviously takes a lot of miles off any big detours, and the major tunnels are all about the same. Well, all the tunnels are about the same price. So whichever tunnel you use, be prepared for that. We knew about that going in. It's all part of the budget.
Yeah.
Still painful getting up to the toll booth and paying that. I think it's a little bit cheaper for a return.
Yeah, no, so I think it's about €100, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, so if you're doing the return, the value for money is a little bit better, but we knew we weren't coming back that way, so we took the hit on a single one through the tunnel.
Yes.
And nothing to see in there either, it's not very interesting.
I have forgot actually, so we travelled down from Swindon and stayed over in the Canterbury Park and Ride. Absolutely fantastic. I'm going to put the details of that on the screen for you now. It cost £8, so that's £8 British, and there's a designated place for around, would you say 20 motorhomes?
Something like that, might be more.
You can do water, you can empty your grey waste, you can empty your toilet, you can fill up with water, you can get rid of all of your rubbish, and if that's full, they actually allow you to park in the rest of the car parking area, as long as you're not blocking any spaces. So ours was full when we were there, and then I reckon there was about 10 to 15 motorhomes sprawled around the motorhome.
Yeah, very quiet, very convenient. So if you're getting the ferry or the tunnel, and you can get down to Canterbury the night before, that is lovely and convenient. About 20-25 minute drive into Dover port the following morning. But yeah, we had a lovely night's sleep.
£8.
Cheap and cheerful. There is a pub there as well.
It's fab.
So we had dinner. So
that's included in our food costs a little bit later.
Yes, but that was, yeah, good. Some good food. A couple of Guinnesses, I think.
Yeah. And
the staff in there were great. So
the pub is fab actually, isn't it? Really, really good value for money. You can walk there in 2 minutes. Good food.
Good food.
Good atmosphere. Highly recommend it. I will leave that in the description as well. So if we look about airs and campsites, I was actually really, really pleased with this cost.
Yeah, so obviously this price doesn't include the 2 nights we spent in Grosseto on the side of an industrial estate, because that was absolutely free.
Yes.
But overall, we spent €395.30.
Yes.
So for over 2 weeks, I don't think that's bad.
No, the most expensive we spent was in Austria, and that was €44 when we stayed in Vols.
But that was right on the edge of Innsbruck, so
you're not going to stay in Vols for €44 for 2 people, so fantastic. We obviously then crossed over into Austria and had to buy a vignette. We were actually going to stop, weren't we, on a motorway services and pick up the vignette, but we're in a motorhome group and found that you can actually do it online.
Yeah.
Fantastic, really, really simple.
Did it in the morning, took about 10 minutes, vignette comes through electronically.
Yeah.
Job done.
We went for the 10-day one.
I think that's the minimum, isn't it? Unless you buy it on the garage, but
I think you can buy a 1 day.
Right.
But we bought.
We were there for 2 days, though, weren't we? Yeah.
So we bought the 10-day one, and that was a bargain of €11.50. I think that's fantastic value for money.
Easy to do as well. I would say watch out for any scam websites, because I think we found one that was sorting your vignette out at a fee for you, but you don't need to do that. You can do it on the government website, and it's easy. Job done.
What I'll do actually, I'll put down on the screen now the actual website that we used. It's fantastic, got loads and loads of information, so I will put those details on the screen for you now. Souvenirs?
Yes, we like to buy ourselves a little thing or two from where we've been. We're a bit of a sucker for fridge magnets and pin badges in particular.
Yeah.
So we spent the grand sum of €101
No. 181, I'm afraid.
€181.84. So, to be honest, I think most of that was spent in Bruges on chocolate.
Yeah, we went a bit wild in Bruges, didn't we?
Yeah, so, but yeah, that's just for the trinkets and bits that we brought back with us from the various places we went. Got to say, Annecy was probably the dearest place to buy a fridge magnet and a pin badge.
Yeah. Rome was actually the cheapest.
And Rome, I think, was the cheapest. So.
We'll come back to food and drink, because I'm actually a bit embarrassed about food and drink. So tickets. So we obviously bought tickets before we went out. We booked those for the Colosseum, and we spent £36 British on those tickets.
I didn't use them.
We didn't use those, unfortunately. And then when we were out there, we obviously had to rebuy our Coliseum tickets. We'd also bought tickets for Castle St Angelo.
Castle St Angelo.
The castle when we were in Portofino, and the total sum of that is €102. I think that's really good. We did really good stuff.
Yeah. Is that the cable car as well?
That's also the cable car. Yeah, the cable car and Rapello. So absolutely fantastic. I'll let you talk about boat trips.
So we went on a couple of boat trips. So in Portofino, our plan had been to ride our electric bikes from Rapello into Portofino, but taking a look at the Italian roads and the Italian drivers, we decided that we would walk into Rapello and get the ferry across. So that was our first boat trip. So that was a return trip from Rapello into Portofino, and then while we were in Bruges, we took a half-hour boat trip on the canals with a guided tour. So both of those trips came to €66. So I think that was a bargain.
Train tickets, we used the train a couple of times. So we used the train to get into Innsbruck
and Rome.
And we spent €26.40, which I think is an absolute bargain.
Yeah, we'll not talk about British train prices on that, but yeah, that was cheap as anything.
Bus tickets, we only used the bus once, and we spent the grand total of €2. Lee did run out of vape oil while we were there, and you can't buy it over there, so we spent the grand sum of €12.90 on that. Breakdown, I mean, obviously most people probably aren't going to incur this charge unless they've got a 34-year-old van.
So that was 2 days out of the holiday, but the breakdown actually cost us €122. On our breakdown cover, we are covered for up to £150. And we're currently arguing with the RAC on that because they've declined our claim because they said that it wasn't done on the same day. So in the policy it does say that they will give £150 towards the cost of labour repairs, providing it's on the same working day as the breakdown. But the breakdown was on a Saturday, which I wouldn't class as a working day since the garage was shut. So we'll have that argument, but either way, it's not the end of the world. It was €122. I was more than happy to pay that to get out of Grosseto and continue to Rome. So we'll keep you updated with the RAC. Not the first time we've had a bit of a challenge with them, but we'll see how that goes.
I've also just realised that's not on this list. We actually had to buy European cover because we don't actually have that on our RAC breakdown cover. We have the top breakdown cover with RAC.
Because we need it.
Because we need it with Sophia. So actually they let us add European road cover for the whole year for the grand sum of £140.
So maybe we shouldn't know.
No.
But it is in the policy.
So yeah, I've just realised I haven't added that. So
but that covers us for the year. So we are planning to dip our toes across the channel again, but we'll see.
So now, do you want to do fuel? Because you're really impressed with fuel.
So
we've got two costs for fuel.
So when we put the trip together, for Sarah will ask me how much fuel I need. So I have two ways of working it out. So I give her the upper limit and the lower limit. So I can normally get between 200 and 250 miles per tank, and depending on fuel costs, that costs around £70 or £80 to fill her up. That's gone up as high as 90, hasn't it, when we've had bad fuel prices. Yeah. So I work out what I can do if I'm on 200 miles a tank, and what I can do on 250 miles a tank, and I give Sarah the worst case scenario. So I worked out, I think I gave you a budget of
€1,100, no, €1,400.
That was doing the 3,000 miles in the worst possible scenario and a little bit of float in there, because I didn't know how she was going to be on the hills. I didn't know how many hills we were going to be going up, mountains. I didn't know really what to expect. We were doing a lot of motorway driving, which isn't the most fuel efficient for Sophia. In fact, we drove the entire breadth of France on motorways and most of Italy as well. So it was a little bit of an unknown, so I gave myself a little bit of a leeway, and I was expecting to spend up to £1,400.
Yeah.
and our total fuel bill
in
euros was £620.35. So that was for all but a couple of hundred miles out of 3,000, and then I spent 191 in pounds to fill up at the start of the trip over here, and I needed a top up to get us back from Dover. So, and we've still got half a tank left of that. So, yeah, I think that's
good. For tolls, we knew we were going to spend a lot of money on tolls. We actually budgeted around £300. That didn't include the price for the tunnel. We came under budget at €282.90. So
that was painful.
Yeah.
That was a big hit, but that was all part of, we knew that we needed to cover lots of miles, and toll roads in France are beautiful.
Yeah, fab.
So it costs you money, but they are beautifully smooth, well serviced, lots of service areas. Loved them. We kept keep up a good pace. They weren't busy. Italian roads not quite as good, but still, but they were a lot cheaper.
The service stations in France were fantastic. I think they were our favourite, weren't they?
Love that. So the ones out in nature in particular, not that we use too many of them. I think we're going to use one or two, but yeah. So a big hit on tolls, but and you can do France without tolls, but it is going to cost you in time, and we didn't have that time to waste.
So now we'll come to this category, food and drinks. So in food and drinks, you've got things like food that we had in Sofia. I've also included in the little snacks that we had when we were out. So anything that we popped in our mouth. Meals, lunch, dinners,
drinks,
alcohol.
Drinks.
On our little list, it just kept coming up, booze. So we've got two costs again for this. So we have, I'm quite embarrassed how much money we spent on food. So
bear in mind, when we're in Sofia, we generally don't eat out. We generally cook in and thingy. But this was a holiday. This was a proper holiday, so we knew we'd be eating out a lot.
And I think because our last trip had been to Bali, where you spend about £7 on food, I think we went a little bit crazy. So while we were over there, we spent €1,015.25. When I added that up, I said to Lee,
that's nearly twice the fuel.
It's insane. But we literally, I mean, in one day in Bruges, we had, you name it, we had it.
Lunch, dinner,
macaroons.
Yeah.
When we were in Rome, we ate out 3 times that day. We had breakfast, lunch and dinner and snacks. And that's something Lee and I don't generally do when we're on holiday in Sofia.
Nope.
Yeah, and then before we got on the boat, we spent £102.45. So that covers the meal at the pub. It includes food on the ferry.
Yeah.
And food on the ferry back.
Good bargain.
So I think I'm just checking. We've told you everything on here. Yes. So what I'm going to do is I will add it all up, and I'm going to put all of the costs on the screen for you guys now, so you can see our total fuel cost. So our total fuel cost is, you can see that on the screen. Our total cost for food and drink is on the screen now, and then everything else we've talked about, I think we're happy with that. And the grand sum that we spent, so what we're going to do is we're going to convert it all to euros, so you can see it in euros.
Yeah.
And this is our grand total. We will pop it on the screen for you now. So I don't know if anyone has any questions they want to ask us about how we planned our trip. What we should actually say is we used Park for Night a lot.
We pre-booked a lot of our campsites on the drive south.
Yeah.
But we winged it on the way back, which was fine. Ended up in a country we weren't planning on going to.
No. Yeah, that was my fault.
But yeah, I think we always knew that this trip was going to be a challenge in an old van, in any van really, because we covered 3,000 miles in 2 weeks, which is a lot. We spent a lot of time driving, and I think we've had some comments from some friends and from yourselves about whether that was too much, and I think in fairness it probably was, but that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to get as far away as we could. We wanted to see Rome, we wanted to see parts of Italy, and we knew the further south we went, the longer the drive back would be. So I think we took about 10 days getting to Rome, didn't we? And then had about 5 days to get back or something like that.
Yeah, I think the total trip was around 19 days.
It was a fairly nice, easy trip south, but coming back north, it was long days in the van. And you will see from the video, I think we were doing 6, 7 or 8 hour driving days at times. So on
hindsight, don't think we'd plan it like that again.
I loved it though.
It was amazing. It was our favourite trip in Sofia. I watch quite a lot of YouTubers, and someone we follow had gone to Rome. It looked amazing, and I said to Lee, we're going to Rome. So yeah, I didn't really think about it. I think for me, I'm a planner. I'm very OCD and stuff like that. So for me, going down was fab because everything was planned. I had my little spreadsheet, had my Excel spreadsheet, and then on the way back, nothing was planned. And if I'm honest, I really struggled with that. I got a lot of anxiety from it, and I think that's why I booked the wrong country. You thought it was hysterical.
I loved it. Didn't know where we were going to be that night, and I loved that. We would look at the map, see where we were heading. Sarah would get online and start looking for campsites, completely going out of her comfort zone for doing that, and I would just drive and watch her screw out in the passenger seat. Yeah,
so since Sophia's been back, I'm not going to include these in the costs, because this is just something we wanted to do. Sophia went into the garage. She had a big pamper, so she had a full service.
Full service.
Where else did she have done?
They tried to do the speedo cable,
yeah.
But the speedo cable is still a problem. So getting the bits for that is a challenge. So that's something that we'll worry about. But yeah, we will just need to keep a track on her miles and her speed when we're driving her ourselves for the time being.
They had another look at the oil leak. They fixed that again, they think.
Yeah, they don't. The oil leak is not anything to worry about. They just said it was an accumulation, so I just need to keep that clean. Yeah, and they were quite impressed with her actually. And yeah, she's had new air filters, diesel filter, fuel filter, oil change, and she's sounding and driving much better than she was when we pulled back up after arriving back from Dover, where she was smoking an awful lot, squealing from the fan belt.
Oh, they also tightened the fan belt?
They tightened the fan belt, so yeah, she's in a much better position. Obviously, we've done some tidying up inside her after the water leak as well, but we'll show you that another time. But yeah, so all in all, would I go that far in Sofia again? I don't know. I loved the trip. Yeah,
it was amazing. I think it was my favourite trip to date in Sofia. We actually said that we did so much talking. We talked, we laughed, we weren't really on our screens. For us, it was just...
Yeah, we were sat in the front seats and chatting away and singing at times, but you don't get to see that. And yeah, it was...
I think when you've been married for so many years, we've been married for 22 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time, and I think, you know, we really enjoyed it, didn't we?
Especially as the stereo didn't work half the time.
No, oh, no, the stereo didn't work, so we had to communicate somehow.
So yeah, but I thought we loved it, absolutely loved it. Sophia, she was an absolute gem. I think the one breakdown we did have, I don't hold against her. No. I think that's the Italian road, and I'm sticking to that story because they were horrific, and I think if I was a little bit more mechanically minded, I probably could have fixed it myself. But we had an absolute blast, absolutely loved it.
Again, thank you for all the comments. We had loads of messages, we've had loads of new subscribers, we've loved it. So what's next for the channel? So you're going to see, after this video, you're going to see a video where we fix the water leak. Lee does the water pump.
Water pump change, yeah.
We have to, well, Lee has to lay all of the flooring again in the van.
All the floor had to come out.
So you've got that video to come. Potentially we're going to go away in Sofia again in the winter. We do have lots of family commitments at this time of the year. We have grown-up children that they don't live in Swindon, so we have lots of activities that we do with them at this time of the year. Next year we are going to Normandy in February.
Yeah.
So we're doing that in Sofia. and then we were going to do a big road trip to Ireland for 3 weeks, but our dogs have just turned 13 and we've decided actually we're going to give them one big last trip in Scotland. So you will see a 3-week trip also of us travelling with the dogs around Scotland, one of our favourite places, apart from Wales. So yeah, you've got loads of exciting stuff coming up, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the NC 500, will it? It'll be a bit of a mix and match, so we'll see where we get to. But
I'm trying to convince Lee to go over to the Isle of Harris so I can pick up some gin.
I think we'll have that conversation off camera.
So again, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions about Europe or a 34-year-old motorhome, pop those down in the comments.
Or ask someone that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, that's probably better. Yeah, probably follow somebody else.
No, come ask us any questions. We'll just give you an honest answer and you know, tell you what we thought, and yeah, we'll tell you what we do. It's the first time we've done it. We were nervous and we couldn't be any more glad that we've done it. So if you're nervous and you're a bit hesitant about doing it, get in touch and
yeah,
see what we can do for you. But yeah, thanks for watching as always. If you like this video, I know it's been a bit of a talky one, but give it a big thumbs up, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching.